Hey guys, I'm Nathan from Arms and Armor. Today I'm happy to announce the release of our new historical Feder, and then we're going to compare it to our safe tournament Feder. Stay tuned. So, I did a video about this sword a few weeks ago, but we've reached the point where we are finally selling it. I have 10 of them. That's all the blades that we made in this first batch. If they prove popular and people buy them, we'll make some more. They're for sale starting today on our website. So we've decided to call this our Fechtschule, fighting school Feder, and it is a replica of one of the ones that's in the Metropolitan Museum in New York. Dates from the mid-late 16th century, and it is a faithful reproduction of the kind of training sword they were using to fight in 16th century tournaments in the Holy Roman Empire. The thing to know about this sword, watch the other videos, is that the point of the sword is 0.5 millimeter thick, right? Which means that it is basically sharp out here at the point. Sorry, I'm gonna sneeze. Sanding wood. Whew. So it's basically sharp. They were playing a different game in the 16th century, right? If you study the work of Joachim Meyer or any of the other masters of the Holy Roman Empire, 1560, 1570, essentially they were fighting to the bloom, which meant that you were trying to cut your opponent on the scalp and make them bleed without hurting them in any other way. So none of the rest of the sword, you can see, is sharp, but once you get out here, this would not be safe for modern tournament fighting. But I think it's an important corrective to how we think about modern Feders, right? It was a different thing that they were doing. And if you want to understand the art that they were studying and fighting with, it's important to have an understanding of the tools that they thought were appropriate to carry out that art. Right, so take a look at this. Right, and last summer I went to the Met, got to handle and measure the two originals in their collection, and this is a very close replica. You can see the grip is nice and short. Right? This is a big difference between historical Feders and some historical Feders and modern Feders. There were some historical ones that had longer grips too, right? So I got to handle and measure the one that's in the Higgins Armory in the Worcester Art Museum that has a long grip, but these two in the Met have a grip that's roughly the length that most sharp longswords were in period, which means that your hands are in contact with each other. You're not wearing big gloves. They were completely unarmored, right? You can still do all of your cuts. In fact, it works really well for all of the 16th century fencing techniques. Now, compare this with, this is a custom Fechtschule. This is our normal Feder that is tournament safe, that people used to train with. We've been selling them for decades. And the main differences between these swords are blade geometry. Right? You can see that this one has a 9-inch grip as compared to the, I think this is 7. This one has a custom ring on it. It's a piece that we just finished for a customer. But the blades are very different. Right? So the modern Feder here has a much thicker point than the historical one, because modern HEMA, you don't want to make your opponent bleed, which means you have to change the blade geometry. So in order to keep the dynamics similar to historical pieces, we thinned this taper, the profile taper, in order to allow the distal taper to be thicker. Right? When you change some geometry, if you want it to behave the same, you have to change other parts of the geometry. Right? So this one, you have some space between your hands, which allows modern gloves to be used. And this one is really for learning from the historical sources. So check out the product page on this. I've got, those 10 blades, 10 sets of parts, and we've got several of them underway in anticipation that somebody will want one. And if you want one, you should put in an order soon. Thank you. Take care.